Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to. Good morning, thank you for tuning in to another installment of On This Day. Today is Friday, December 12th, 2025. This being Friday, we're going to recap what we talked about on Monday and Wednesday. I'm Christy, and I'll be taking you on this journey to the past, the present, the future, and possibly other dimensions. So keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times, and let's get this party started. On Monday, our first couple of articles are pretty sad. Things started off in 1980 with John Lennon when he was shot out and killed outside his apartment building he was living with his wife Yoko Ono and son Sean, youngest son Sean. He was at the peak of his solo career, and had just released his album with wife Ono called Double Fantasy. In 2019, superstar MC and emo rap pioneer Juice WRLD died tragically at age 21. He was influential in the SoundCloud movement, parlaying his internet celebrity into a record deal with Grade A Productions and Interscope Records in 2017. And his third studio album, Legends Never Die, debuted #1 on the Billboard 200, becoming one of the most successful posthumous albums of all time. In 1976, Eagles released Hotel California, their fifth studio album with new guitarist Joe Walsh. Hotel California produced two #1 singles, the title track and New Kid on the Block. New Kid in Town, I'm sorry. Topping the Billboard 200 for 8 consecutive weeks. In 1961, the Beach Boys' first single, Surfin', was released on Syndex Records. During interviews, Wilson claimed he came up with the idea for Surfin' on the piano while singing the title, and Mike Love contributed to the hook, which he borrowed from Jan and Dean's 1959 hit, Baby Talk. In 1968, singer-songwriter and guitarist Graham Nash left the Hollies to work with David Crosby and Stephen Stills. Together, they became, say it with me guys, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Got ya. Young joined after, but I bet y'all thought we were gonna stop at Nash. We didn't. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm being weird tonight, as opposed to any other night, really. Anyway, in 1968, I just did that one. In 1979, progressive rocker Styx scored their first and only #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 with Babe. The song sat at #6 in the UK. In 2013, Metallica was the first band to play on all 7 continents when they performed a show inside the Argentina Antarctic base Carolini. This is a difficult one for a lot of people. Some people I know knew this person. Dimebag Darrell, music icon, died at age 38 in 2004. He was shot and killed on stage at a stint in Columbus, Ohio. Next, we get into factoids. It was Brownie Day and Pretend to be a time traveler day. We'll travel back to 1864. The Clifton Suspension Bridge finally opened. It would become the first bridge that modern bungee jumpers were taking. In 2022, Trevor Noah said goodbye to The Daily Show. In 1990, SpaceX became the first private company to launch, orbit, and recover a spacecraft. The SpaceX mission the SpaceX mission couldn't have gone any more smoothly with all systems normal all the way through. In 1991, the Commonwealth of Independent State was formed by leaders of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. At the same time the CIA was formed, the Soviet Union was dissolved. Due to this, the CIA was granted freely to any Soviet republic and any nations that shared similar values. That's kind of disturbing. But what do I know? In 1990, NASA's spacecraft Galileo made its first flyby to Earth. In 1987, Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev signed a treaty eliminating all medium-range missiles. In 1963, the only son of Frank Sinatra Jr., was kidnapped for $240,000, which he paid. They released him after being held for 54 days, but they were caught a few days later. Lastly, from Monday in 1881, a fire destroyed Vienna's Ring Theater, which killed between 640 and 850 people. Let's travel to Wednesday and find out what happened then. In 1967, tragedy struck when 26-year-old Otis Redding and most of his young traveling band, the Bar K's, were killed in a plane crash when Redding's private jet lost control and crashed. In 2021, Eminem went on to number 1 in the UK with Stan, featuring British singer Ditto. The song also topped the charts in in 11 countries, including Australia, Germany, and Iceland. In 1973, Fame Music Club CBGB opened in Manhattan's East Village. The venue would become ground zero for emerging punk and new wave bands. In 1949, Fats Domino recorded his first tracks for Imperial Records, including one of his signature hits, Fat Man. I squeaked. I'm going through puberty again. That's horrible. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. Anywho, in 1965, David Bowie, 18 years old, recorded Can't Help Thinking About Me. It was his first song under that moniker after previously releasing his songs as Davy Jones and Davy, D-A-V-I-E Jones. That's because his actual name is David Jones. So but because obviously Davy Jones from the Monkees, he couldn't do it, so he used the moniker Bowie. In 1983, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson began a 6-week run at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 with their collaboration Say, Say, Say. In 1975, ABBA released Fernando. The song quickly became one of the group's most popular singles, selling more than 6 million copies in their first year. Lastly, in 2007, Led Zeppelin reunited after 19 years to perform at Ahmet Ertegun tribute concert in London. Factoids for Wednesday in 1817. Mississippi became the 20th state admitted to the Union. Several Native American tribes still occupied it until that point. Excuse me. In 2016, Bob Dylan was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for his contribution to music and his lyricism. In 2005, Christina Fernandez became the first woman to be sworn in as president of Argentina. In 2001, the first Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring premiered in London. In 1968, the biggest heist in Japan occurred by a man dressed as a police officer who stole 3 million yen. In 1988, the person was never caught, and they were given the opportunity to tell their story with no legal repercussions. Nobody came forward. In 1953, Winston Churchill was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature. Now, on to today's past headlines. Friday, December 12th, 2025. In 2012, The Who, Michael Stipe, Chris Martin, Bruce Springsteen, Roger Waters, and more performed at Madison Square Garden to raise funds for victims of Hurricane Sandy. In 1970, the Doors played what would be their final show with Jim Morrison at the Warehouse in New Orleans. Also in 1970, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles began a 2-week run at the top at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with Tears of a Clown. I love that song. The song was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2002. In 1987, George Michael began a 4-week run at the top of the U.S. pop charts with Faith. Taken from the album of the same name, the song became the country's top-selling single of 1988. In 2020, legendary country singer Charlie Pride died at the age of 86. The singer and guitarist was inducted into the Country Hall of Fame in 2000, while he remains one of only 3 black members of the Grand Ole Opry. In 1981, the Human League topped UK charts with Don't You Want Me. The synth pop hit was later named the year's biggest selling single. And in 2003, Mick Jagger was honored with knighthood at Buckingham Palace. Oh, sorry. Buckingham Palace. Yeah, okay. Let's get funky with facts. Today is Poinsettia Day and Ding-a-ling Day. It's alright, I'm trying not to laugh. In 2019, the deepest point of land was identified underneath the Denman Glacier in East Antarctica. There's an ice-filled canyon 11,500 feet below sea level, making it the deepest point on Earth to date. In 2001, Winona Ryder was arrested for shoplifting. She was arrested in Beverly Hills for stealing $4,700 worth of merchandise and possession of pain meds without a prescription. In 1992, a 7.8 earthquake hit Flores Island in Indonesia, which caused an 82-foot tsunami, killing about 2,500 people. In 1988, Rain Man, directed by Barry Levinson, starring Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise, premiered in New York. In 1980, Apple made its initial public offering on the U.S. stock market. 38 years later, it would become the first company valued at over $1 trillion. In 1968, Arthur Ashe became the first black person to be ranked number 1 in tennis. Time for trivia. Question: what country has a shipwreck on its flag? Answer: Bermuda. Question: what is the fear of animals called? Answer: zoophobia. Question: what country gives students the longest summer holiday? Answer: Italy. Ron's birthdays. 1915, Frank Sinatra. 1938, Connie Francis. 1940, Dionne Warwick. 1943, Mike Smith. 1943, Dickie Betts. 1944, Reb Tyner. 1959, Sheila E. 1963, Eric Shankman. 1968, Danny Boy. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you, and have a wonderful weekend. Everybody stay safe. You can listen to us here 7 days a week on WCDI with Brian Rockstone. And don't forget to check out the Top Rope Report every Sunday and Wednesday. Have a great day, y'all. Ciao.